In a row with a long gospel. I'm out of breath. I'm sorry. So today begins a 1-2 punch. It ends next week with the nail on the coffin. So it must be very important that our liturgical pattern now focuses on money and wealth. I'm going to tell you a story that I overheard over my vacation that I loved it, and I want to share with you because we could tie it in with today's reading. So there was a successful Harvard Law of Business, successful man, graduate of Harvard, taking a vacation down in an island in the Caribbean. And he observed this young man go out in his boat, come back 20 minutes later, with enough fish for about a family, and just pack up, clean up, and start heading back home. So the businessman, his curiosity piqued after the second or third day of watching this, and he asked him, he called him over and said, "Young man, tell me about your day. How come you don't spend more time and catch more fish and grow your business?" The young man, very humble, says, "Well, I get up late, I have breakfast with my wife and kids, I come out to the ocean, go out for about 20 minutes, catch what I need, bring it home, we have lunch, I take a nap with my wife, I play with my kids in the afternoon, I make it to 6 o'clock mass at the plaza, then I go have some drinks with my friends and play the guitar." And I do that every day. So as you can see, my day is pretty packed. The business lawman, thinking like a businessman, tells him, "I have a solution for your problem. Why don't you spend more time fishing, grow your business, hire a few people, we can go down to the capital city, set up a franchise, sell your franchises, eventually we can go to New York City, put it in the stock market. You would have obviously to move to New York City. Once it's stable and going, you can sell it, become a millionaire. Then you could come back here, wake up late, fish a little, have lunch with your wife and kids, take a nap with your wife, play with your kids, go to mass at 6 o'clock, then go play the guitar and have some drinks." You could just imagine the face of the young man when he told him, "That's exactly what I'm doing now." That's our mindset. That's really our mindset. Today's gospel gives us a pointer of how our posture as believers, as Christians, should be with money, with treasures, with material things. Unfortunately, we live in a society that pushes us to make more money, to buy a bigger boat, buy a bigger house, have as many cars as we can, buy more clothes, buy more shoes, buy more handbags. We're bombarded with that mindset. Thank God we have the church to remind us that that is not the right way to pursue that happiness that we're pursuing. The whole purpose of us wanting to make more money is because we think that it will make us happy. We think that money will give us that peace, that inner joy that we can only find in God. So we're using money as the end and not the mean, as the gospel tells us today. Jesus used a very hard example today. Jesus used one of the most hard parables to understand to make his point. And I did a little research, and the only thing the experts can agree on is that it's a hard parable to explain. But I did find one guy that gave me a little insight on what Jesus was trying to tell us with the parable. So we hear about the steward that's about to get fired. The steward was the person in charge of the business of the owner of the business. So he kept the books and did the collections and the sales. That person in the time of Jesus will not make a salary. That person lived off his commissions. So for every sale, he would make a commission. What happened here was he knows that he's about to lose that position. And that if he loses that position, he would be left out in the street to beg or dig ditches. So he's very wise and clever. And that's when he goes to each of the people that he had sold to and asks them to lower what they owed. So in essence, he gave up his cut. He did not steal further from the landlord, from the owner. He just cut his losses. He cut his profits. He cut his commission to make friends with not only with his boss, but with those whom he worked with. He had that light bulb moment that money, unjust money, was not going to get him into happiness. And that's what Jesus is asking us today, to remind ourselves that money is just a mean. We need it. Yes, we need it. We need to pay our bills. We need to pay the light. We need to pay the water. We need to pay our cell phone bills. That's not the question. That's not in question. But we are called this week, throughout the week, and next week with the next parable, to give money its place. Pope Francis mentioned that he's never seen a hearse followed by an armored truck. Never. We don't take any of it with us. But Jesus tells us to make friends with whatever we do have. So if you're blessed with money, reflect, how am I using that money to help God's children, to earn friendship with God so that I can do my part to gain a spot in the everlasting life with God. If you're struggling with money, it's also a reminder that we are blessed by God when we're struggling with money. But in both cases, as St. Paul said, we are reminded that there's only one God. There's only one intercessor. And He will never take away that gift that He's given us to steward the material things for Him. So when we make that realization, when we turn that switch to realizing that everything belongs to God, we can go to Him and we will receive that comfort. We will receive that eternal reward that will follow us into our death. The good deeds that we did with everything that He gave us.